mistake. My bad. All right, peace. Whoa. Let me fix this. It's by myself today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I said I was going to do this and give it a shot, give it a try. I might be joined with some of our friends here in a little bit. I did want to talk a little bit about some of the topics that we were covering yesterday. So first and foremost, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Oh, look who it is. Oh, what a surprise.
What up? What up? Thank you for the invite, bro. Thank you.
This is a Thursday edition of I don't even know. We've never done.
I'm gonna break my desk, and that's what it's called.
Yeah, no, that's what it was. No, I just yesterday we were having some conversations about a lot of I think it started when we were talking a little bit about how the Dominican Republic was almost carbon copying what's going on in the United States here, how in particular there's a new movement, a youth movement over there with Alofoque. And Alofoque's real name is Santiago Matia, but for those who don't know, Alofoque is actually a term where Dominicans kind of Spanglish up a term that when for us to say fuck is almost like saying whatever, right?
Yeah.
And saying Alofoque is translated basically saying I'm on some whatever. That's literally the translation of his name. That's where it comes from. In Dominican Republic, that terminology, especially in the late 90s, when the internet and more communication with America and a lot of people traveling and abroad and so forth, they started bringing that U.S. culture to DR. And like I said, when we say, "Oh, I'm on some fuck it," you know what I mean? And in Dominican Republic, when they say "Alofoque," it's just basically saying, I'm on some whatever. Yeah. So
Whatever. Fuck it.
this guy Santiago Matia has built a conglomerate, so to speak, on the radio. Basically, he's a YouTube sensation, and now people are pushing him to run for president. It's gassed him up a lot. And we were talking yesterday about how in today's world we have become. This world has become. These young kids now are just. Well, it's everybody basically stupefied. It's just a matter of, how do I put it? It's almost like people just basically just giving up and saying, yeah, let me pick this idiot just because he says nice things. And everybody might not, this is why I'm doing this separately. Not everybody likes to talk about politics, but obviously I don't really lean towards any political direction, but I certainly know an idiot when I know one. And unfortunately, we have an idiot for president. And that's all seeping into South America and including the Caribbean and Dominican Republic. People have convinced themselves, and I put partial blame on politicians today. This is why I'm not a fan of politics, period, or politicians. I put a lot of blame on politicians because they're just bullshitters. And you see people saying, no, but this guy's good and that guy's bad, or that guy's good, but this person's bad. The reality is that a lot of the politicians that get in, some of them do go in with the intention of doing good, but others are just there to just become career politicians and make money and just sit around and do absolutely nothing. And the reason I'm bringing this up now is because I think it's not only are we dealing with high inflation, but we're dealing with high cost of living. And what are we doing to blame, or so to speak? We're cutting in areas like education, which is important. I just want to read I have some talking points here that I wanted to determine. So inflation is more than an economic statistic. It determines how much food families can buy, whether they can afford housing, and what resources our children receive in school. Although inflation has slowed from the recent peak, obviously after COVID, like within 2021 and 2022, things got really bad. it's still up again. It was going down at the end of 2024 into 2025. Well, really, at the end of 2024 and into 2025, and it's just shot right back up. So right now, consumer prices were 3.4% higher in July 2026 than they were a year earlier.
Yeah.
Core inflation, excluding food and energy, was 2.5. Inflation is therefore slowing in some areas, but rising in above the Federal Reserve's traditional 2% goal. This is per the labor statistics.
Yeah.
And so, oh, I'm going to cut to you now. What are your thoughts on the overall cost of living and the current condition we find ourselves when it comes to things like inflation, cost of living, and so forth?
All right. So it's good that you talk about that because I was thinking about that the other day, and because of the cost of living, like let's say I live in Colombia,
Uh huh.
it hasn't been affecting me as much till I go back to the states. Like let's say if I go to Walmart, I remember once I went out somewhere. I went up to Walmart to buy a couple of things, bro. $100, and I didn't even see where I spent it. You know what I mean? Um, so let's say when this whole Venezuela thing came about, I was like, well, that means gas prices are gonna go down.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, gas prices don't go down; they just stay where they're at. You know what I mean? Everything is costing more, and but we're not seeing the value for the dollar. You know what I mean?
I feel that, first of all, this war that's going on right now. Sorry, it's a Thursday and I'm doing this by myself. I forgot to connect my laptop so that I have enough juice.
Yeah.
There's a war going on right now, which, believe it or not, the majority of both political parties do not agree on, because it's starting to affect all of our pockets.
Yes.
When we're at war, gas prices rise, especially at war in the Middle East, which is, a big provide a big area provider of fuel for the world, of petroleum for the world.
Yeah.
And so this war has just raised everything, bro. I don't normally. This is just something in my personal life. I don't normally go shopping. I hate shopping. Period.
Yeah.
My wife does the shopping. She goes to the supermarket. She'll order food to be delivered to the house, like the compra and whatever. I hate being in a supermarket. If I
Yeah.
could live my life not ever stepping foot into a supermarket, a store, I'm good.
Yeah.
So,
My
like
girl
I
doesn't
mentioned,
understand that.
uh
My girl
huh.
doesn't understand that, bro.
Yo, you see what I'm saying? I invite her over and look what this DK.
I think it's all men that hate going to the supermarket, bro.
I think so. I hate shopping, anything with shopping. So I give her credit, and she's watching that. I'm she's the one that does everything. So I had to go get something. It was a really small thing, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the Dollar Tree." It was like a little plastic thing that I needed, and
Dollar
then
Tree ain't a dollar no more.
it ain't even a dollar. Then my daughter says, "Hey, I want to grab something. Can I go with you?" And we go, and she can't find it there. So she goes, "Let's go to Walmart." We go to Walmart, and I go, "Hey, while we're here, do you girls need anything? For everyday stuff, because they usually go to mom for that." And my daughter was like, "Oh, I need this." I go, "Well, grab whatever." When it came to deodorant, bro, I was like, I'm almost running out of deodorant. I said, "Grab deodorant." Bro, I look up $8 for damn deodorant. What are you selling me, bro?
Well, let me tell you something. This is where I'm gonna pop in and be like, "This is sponsored by Yadora." Yo, this, yo, check this out. This little deodorant cream, bro, I could totally vouch for it, bro. Bro,
Deodorant
it's nine
cream?
dollars. Yeah, deodorant cream, bro. And I'm like, yo, no grajos whatsoever. No
Yo.
grajos whatsoever. But I don't want to go back too far, but I wanted to ask you. Because you said, these politicians. Now, this is gonna open up another can of worms.
Open. This is why I did it separately, away from everybody
Okay,
else.
politics is not what it was 20 years ago.
In what sense? What do you mean? Oh well, yeah.
In
Well, that's
all
true.
sense. In
That's
all
true.
sense. You know what I mean? Like, not saying political parties, whatever, but it's not the same. Now, I do have a question for you. This inflation that's going on,
Hmm.
do you think it's because of the current administration that's going on, or is it like they always say,
Huh?
your economy's based on the prior 4 years?
Yeah, but we're two. Yes, I'll give you two things. We are 2 years into. Oh, look, she said deodorant is $9, which is crazy. But so I would say that if it were a year ago,
Okay, okay. Why just a year? Why not two
because
years in?
typically, okay, so if you notice, we're 2 years in and we're still in the same boat. Gas prices are at $4.
Okay,
Inflation remains high. The point I'm trying to make is this: I believe, doesn't matter who would have been president, that in 2020, whoever was going to be president, when we as a country tell people to stay home,
uh huh,
don't work, and we're going to give you checks.
okay,
Stay home, don't work, work from home, and we're going to give you checks. Everything always comes, that money comes from somewhere.
yeah,
And
okay, yeah,
ultimately, it led to what we're dealing with today. There was everything, production stopped. You know that if in a work line, right? When something is being produced, when something is being produced, what happens is you have a 6 month production line.
I'm gonna keep the comments on the thing.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Um, what happens is everything gets produced, and there's a 6 month production line where that stuff that you're making is going to be sold in another 5 6 months. What happened in 2020 is we basically told people almost for an entire year, stop doing shit, stay at home, and we'll send you money and take care of you in the meantime for your necessities.
Do you okay?
And that
Do
affected our economy. So I'm going to answer your question
okay,
real quick.
go right.
So whether it was Biden or Trump, the reality is we would have, yeah, by 2022, we were seeing the peak of inflation that was caused by COVID.
Okay,
But the reason you asked me that, and I'm telling you, is because as of 2020, the end of 2024 and into 2025, clearly signs were showing that inflation was dropping and prices were dropping. In fact, it was the summer of last year where gas prices were down to like 260 at one point.
okay, okay.
So if you're asking me, what do you think caused this? Is the current administration's uh, wherewithal, if that's the correct word, and at the same time, it's this war that we're in is causing inflation, and it's screwing everything up. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So, do you think it's fair to still blame COVID for everything?
We're not.
But
That's
you
what.
you said COVID has
Okay,
something to do with
but
it.
I told you COVID had something to do with the spike in
Okay.
in um in 20 between 2021 and 2022. What I
Okay.
also told you was between 2023 and 2024, there was beginning a decline in inflation and cost of things were dropping again.
Okay.
Okay. And
Not like
then
it's dropping, but I'll
yet,
take your word for it.
bro, let's use gas for an example. So I'm gonna Google it here real quick, if you don't mind.
Don't Google. Use another. I told you. Use Perplexity for that crap. Google will tell you what people want to hear, not the
Hold
truth.
on. Hold on.
No pun intended.
No, because what I do is I use AAA. AAA has always been a reliable source when it comes to gas prices. Gas prices, summer of 2025. Average gas prices. So in the summer 2025, regular U.S. gasoline prices averaged roughly between $3 and 3.16. You cannot blame COVID was 6 years ago, and I'm not blaming COVID. The reason I bring up COVID is because you have to acknowledge I'm not sitting here trying to say one party is better than the other. I'm
Yeah.
saying you have to acknowledge that there was a rise in inflation during the Biden administration. But to me, that was all caused by what we did during COVID.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when
Yeah.
people talk about, yo, let's do, I want tax cuts for this, tax cuts for that. We all love tax cuts. But you know what happens when we also, put together tax cuts? You know what happens? We have to find that money that is used on taxes for other areas because must we forget taxes are used for road repairs, police officers, fire departments. I think libraries are included. Maybe that might not be included in anything public to
Federal.
cities
Yeah.
and not even federal to cities and towns. Like we have our local taxes. Those things pay for our police officers. Those things pay for our firefighters. If
Okay.
if let's say if we have a specific tax that we pay and that gets cut back and everybody's like, yeah, we got tax cuts. Do you really think that we're just gonna cut everything and say cut ties with everything and say, okay, that money was going towards this, that money's not gonna be available to them anymore? No, they're gonna tax us somewhere else. So what I feel is going on is this inflation, all this tariff stuff is affecting us. The other thing is tariffs. Like I hope you people are aware that these tariffs, just to act like we got big balls that we charge to other countries, we were paying for it. Do you know that the average American in the average household, not American, the average household in the United States paid or is paying as of now, averaging $2,000 of cost pertaining to do with tariffs. And so what happens? So let's use Walmart because I was just there the other day. Walmart is clearly paying a tariff tax because if they're getting their TVs or whatever the hell they're getting imported, they're paying a tax, right? So what does Walmart do? Okay, I used to sell you that TV for $200. I'm not going to sell it to you for $275. An example. That is the charge that they throw on us. Now, Supreme Court a year later comes out and says, surprise, surprise, those tariffs are illegal. Now, Walmart and all these other companies who charged us extra for that tariff are going to get reimbursed by the government because they get to submit a reimbursement request. And the federal government is going to pay them back the tariffs that they were really originally charged. And guess what? Surprise. They charged us for that extra tariff and they're getting our money back. They're not giving it to us. They're not calling and say, Mr. Amador, Mr. Alcantara, you on Friday, July 16th, you pay an extra $30 to purchase that TV. Can you please come so we can refund it to you? No, Walmart's going to put that stuff in their pockets. And that's why things like tariffs and wars don't benefit any of us. And we all know this was a war that was perpetuated by Bibi Netanyahu. You know, I know I'm getting political, but unfortunately, it's affecting our pockets. And so when we sit here and say, is there inflation? Yes. It's no longer. We can't blame it on the previous administration. Is it COVID? Well, it was already going down before the end of the previous administration's final 6 months of, or actually final year of being in office. So I ask you, who do we blame then? If you're asking me, why shouldn't we be blaming the previous administration? Who do we blame then? We were going in the right direction.
Elon Musk. I think we blame Elon Musk.
That too.
Yeah.
That too.
So check this out. I was actually looking at prices year by year. 2020, the average price was $226. To 2021.
What are you looking at?
Gas prices.
Oh, okay. Look at that. So that's an average. I gave you an average.
Went up 30.6%.
See?
2022
up
21.
Yep.
0.8%. 2023 it went down 14.1%.
And 2024?
2024 down about 21 cents from 2023. And then 2025 it went down
See?
21 cents from 2024.
So three
And the
years,
current
hold on, before you continue, 3 years of consecutive drops. Yes or no?
uh-huh, yes.
So are we still going to blame the previous administration or blame COVID? Or are we going to blame the current administration's policies?
Yeah, it
This
went
is
up
where we
to
got
410.
three
And then
years in
the
a row.
dollar.
3 years in a row. It's not just the last year, the last 2 years of Biden, but it was also the first year of Trump. But
Yeah,
what
but
purpose?
you see, I don't think Trump could come in 1 year and just, the whole economy is set on
Bro,
the first year.
it's the tariffs and the war.
Yeah, but tariffs were actually used for something, for some
For what? For what?
manhandling of different
Manhandling
folks.
what? But who's paying the price for it? Is Japan
Okay.
is not paying, China's not paying the tariffs. We are, bro. This is like that trickle economic stuff that Reagan used to use back in the day. So, which I laugh because I sit here today and Republicans still try to use that as a form of to act fiscally responsible by saying, oh, if we remove the taxes that these that the companies and the CEOs and the rich people pay, they'll trickle it down and pay more than employees. That's bullshit. You know what they did with that money? They took that money and they invested and they became even more richer while still cutting jobs and making the ones that stay work twice as hard with the same pay.
Yeah.
Trickle down economics does not work. And the reality, go ahead.
I just think that when Trump first started the tariff, it was based on something else. It wasn't just money. It was to hold people down. Like, let's say if we went into Venezuela, do you think other countries would have gotten in right away?
What do you mean?
Would have defended Venezuela?
No, nobody was going to defend Venezuela.
No, you don't think so?
No, I think that.
So
I
China,
think
that owns most of Venezuela right now, they wouldn't have gotten in.
no.
The
I mean,
tariffs kept them back. The tariffs kept.
Yeah,
kept
but
them back.
here, listen. This is funny because we all know that Venezuela. What we did in Venezuela was nothing but a ploy. When was
yeah, but
when
I'm not
was
talking about. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about putting the tariffs in play. Was more as in, hey, you know what? I want China to deal with this, and just stay back from Venezuela. Same thing with Russia. Russia and China didn't get in to protect Venezuela, and they have money in there, bro.
right? But no, what they do is that since we put so much sanctions on them, they purposely they use somebody like Venezuela to be provided with a petroleum and energy, which is a really shitty type of petroleum to begin with. But what I'm saying is because we're getting out of
But I'm saying
topic.
that's it's
The
called
tariff, right? But the tariffs were being levied on goods coming from other countries for the purpose of supposedly saying this was the purpose of tariffs. Trump's way of saying if we add tariffs, we are going to make these American countries, or we're going to make these American companies say, why don't we just make them here and avoid the tariffs? The problem is that it still doesn't function because here you got to pay people based on laws. In China, you could pay people shitty money and they'll still do twice the production. Yeah. And companies are going to be willing to pay the tariffs because you know why they're willing to pay the tariffs? Why did you never hear one company other than the mom and pop shops complain? The big Walmart's, Targets, every big company you could think of. Why did you never hear one of those companies complaining? Why? Because they knew that what they were going to do was, oh, you want to charge me tariff? I'll just raise the prices and add them to the everyday consumer's charges. Mm-hmm. And you and I, idiots, are paying for it. And then a year later, when the Supreme Court overturns the ruling and says the tariffs are illegal, they can go back and claim that money and say, well, Mr. Supreme Court and Mr. Federal Government, you charged me que sé yo cuánto $1 billion in tariffs. You owe me, here's my numbers, here's my accountant, here's our numbers, this is what you owe me back. And the government has no other choice but to pay it back. Now, are we getting that money back? Are we being supplied with that money? No. So tariffs never worked. The two reasons why our economy is why our inflation is so bad right now is because tariffs and because of this war. One of the reasons why this current president was voted into office is because he said he was going to be the ender of these long-standing forever wars. And what does he do? Mind you, for example, people don't understand that we had an agreement that was signed in 2015 with Iran that they would follow our requirements for nuclear arms or the nuclear arms that they did. They signed it and they kept to it. What happened in 2016 or really 2017 when Trump became president, he backed us out of it. And so now Iran was sitting there saying, where's our agreement? We're going to go back to doing what we were doing. And Iran was like, we're not going to do anything. Now, that was during the Trump's first term. During Biden's only term, nothing happened there either. They didn't come to an agreement. Nothing happened. And what ended up happening in the meantime, and I'm talking about since the early 2000s, Bibi Netanyahu has been telling America that Iran is 2 weeks away. That's the famous 2 weeks. 2 weeks away from building nuclear capabilities. Mm-hmm. He's been saying this since the year 2000, that they're 2 weeks away. And as of yet, 26 years later, surprise, nothing's happened. Every single president and this is not a political thing. Every single president from George Bush all the way through Obama told Israel, nope. Even Biden told Israel, no. He told them, he cooled down. We ain't doing shit. We're not going to get into a war with you and Iran because it wasn't economically good for us. So what ended up happening is that nothing happened, but nothing was done. And now Trump comes in and he listens to him and we go to war, a war that all his supporters were against. And that's the part that people don't understand. I don't want to hear anybody trying to defend this war because one of the reasons this man ran for president was because he said we're going to end all these wars that are going around the world that America's involved in. We're going to end them. And that was his promise. And what does he do? Literally a year into his presidency, we start attacking Iran and helping Israel attack Iran. And what does that do? It causes issues. What happens is Israel is a big provider of petroleum. And a lot of other countries are going to us or to other countries to get their petroleum. So now when there's more demand, there's a raise in pricing. So if you're asking me again, why is it that I blame this current administration? There you have it, the tariffs and the war in Iran. And I don't think anybody is going to disagree with that. We can't blame Biden anymore. 2 years later, you can't blame Biden. And you can definitely not blame COVID because COVID was 6 years ago. And we already suffered through another inflation, which was between 2022 and 2023. Sorry, 2021 and 2022. And you read it yourself that at the beginning of 2023, there were 3 consistent years of drop in inflation and pricing. Why is that? I'm trying to get somebody, trying to see if I get some folks on. Hold on a sec. Give me a second.
Okay, check this out. This is what I was looking at, right? So, China was the central economic target. China became the main destination for sanctioned Venezuelan oil and was estimated to buy 50 to 89% of it, right? A country buying Venezuela oil could face a 25% tariff on all of imports into the U.S., not merely a tariff connected to oil transactions. The order explicitly accounted for
Hmm.
indirect imports, third parties, Hong Kong, and Macau, signaling concern for transshipment and sanctions evasions, right?
Uh-huh.
The State Department had discretion over whether to apply the tariff, meaning the threat itself could be used in negotiations and diplomacy. The policy's practical effect was to constrain Chinese oil sector's positioning. Reporting at the time said that the aim included complicating China's efforts to establish a stronger presence in Venezuela's industry.
Hmm.
So tariffs help deter deeper Chinese and Russian involvement by making the economic side of that involved more expensive and politically risky. That is a reasonable interference from a policy that used U.S. market access to discourage purchases of Venezuelan oil, while China was Venezuela's dominant consumer. So the tariffs did have a lot to do with
Okay, but
Venezuela, but
okay,
it
but
affects us as well. It affects us as well.
but
You know what
that's
I'm
my
saying?
point.
Like,
Listen to me. You tell somebody, anybody, what doesn't matter what political party is. You start talking to them about it had its effects on Venezuela. Everybody's going to tell you, I don't care about Venezuela. I care about the prices that are going on here. And the problem is no matter how much we try to cook it, the reality is we are suffering economically because
yeah,
of the tariffs and because of this unnecessary war.
yeah,
And this isn't even a political thing anymore because even people on Trump's side are saying I don't agree with the war thing. So yes, and that's my talk about inflation and cost of living. Here's where I really wanted to put my focus on because we're 32 minutes in, and I really wanted to focus on the budget cuts. So you mentioned what's his face, Elon Musk, and I think that you're
mhm,
absolutely right. Why? Because by the way, if you want to actually join us, there's a little white box on the top left hand of the screen. Is it? Can you click on it, or do you have to?
they could
How does
scan
it?
it. They could scan it.
You can scan it if you're on your computer, or is there another way for us to get it? Us to get it? People connected, so that you
No,
can
that's
get on
it. That's the
if
link.
you want to comment, or if you just want to leave comments and we can talk about it while you're on. We appreciate it very much. So when Elon Musk and Trump created, it was called Doge. I forgot. Do you know what Doge means? So we could kind
No,
of
but I
yeah.
remember the Dogecoin.
What? Here, let me see. Doge stood for Department of Government Efficiency. So it was created for basically saying, and I'm gonna put it in Jonathan terms. I stupid it out. If I have to stupid it out for me, it makes it easier for everybody to understand. It's just basically saying we, the government, are spending money
Unnecessarily.
unnecessarily on a lot of things. So what's the first thing that they did? They cut back. They cut the workforce of the IRS. Wink, wink. We all know why. Department of bitch asses, according of bitches. There you
Bitch
go.
assness.
Oh, but, yo, so they cut the workforce of the IRS. Who does the IRS really go after the most and investigate? The rich folks. So surprisingly enough, they did that,
I
right?
don't know. I don't want to talk bad about the IRS at this point because they could be looking at me. So
Then they
just I'll
then
leave you
they
to it.
then the next thing that they want to do is there's cutbacks. So I was looking at this. So I'm going to use a state like Alabama, who's considered what you consider a red state. So with the budget cuts, and I'm going to use Alabama. I'm just using them as an example. The budget cuts for K through 12 education. Alabama will lose 52,832,000 in federal funding. This is the equivalent of 1,184 first year teachers, 176,000 Chromebooks, and 26,603 after school slots. Why did I want to do this and why it was important for me to do this? I just really wanted to try this hour to kind of talk about things that I was talking about yesterday on our show. A lot of people complain about how our young kids are today, and they are running wild and rampant. It is my personal opinion that if we put focus on our youth, then tomorrow will be better for this whole world. If we put, it's like everything, like when we talk about church, right? When we talk about church, let's use church for example. We say, what's the best way to allow God's word to be spread around the world and our children to remain closer to God? By letting our kids involving our kids and making them a priority. And what we're doing, that's in the religious realm of it, the church realm of it. In this country, we talk so much about child protection, how much our kids are the most valuable gem of this world, our future, but we don't do shit for them. We cut costs
at home. It starts at home.
Yeah, I'm not saying, no, wait, time out.
It starts at home.
Okay. All right, so let's start at home.
Okay.
If you have a single parent with 3 kids.
Okay, good.
Why do we make it so difficult for that mother to be able to hold down a job and her kids to have either after school programs, extra tutoring, some sports or something, rather than have them in the streets? Why do we make it so difficult for them? That's the main problem.
I'm going to ask you this question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Would that same mother have a little savings and actually go to the bank and say, hey, I want to buy a home and get a loan on the home?
Why not?
Why can't she take out a loan to homeschool her kid to begin with?
Why does she have to homeschool? Advocate. Okay, you could play devil's advocate, but why she got to homeschool?
Because
so wait a minute.
The school, hold on.
Okay,
you asked me a question. Let me answer.
Go ahead.
The school system is trash right now, right? They have an agenda, whatever, right? So the best way for you to actually focus on the youth, you raise them yourself.
So nobody goes to work. Or everybody works from home.
She could take out a loan, right? For those years that she could set up her child, right?
Okay, so let me paint the picture so I don't put words in your mouth.
No, you can paint the picture however you want.
No. I want to paint the picture exactly how you have it because I don't want to put words in your mouth. So you're essentially saying the devil doesn't need any more advocates. So you're essentially saying that a mother take out a loan from her school so that she can go. So that she can use that money to
homeschool. Yeah, why not? Why not?
Would you do that if you were a single parent?
I would homeschool someone. Yeah,
you were a parent.
Yeah, but why not?
Are you able to? Some parents are not. Maybe not all. What if some parents are not able to provide their child the
Where
good?
There's a will, there's a way.
Come on, man. We're talking about the preciousness of our children, bro. How could you sit here and now you have a new story? Now you have a new plan for how families should raise their kids.
Hold on. No. I heard that from somebody else. Now I'm using it, just to play devil's advocate.
Oh, okay.
But there's since you want to keep talking, I'm going to find something.
No, because here's what I'm saying is it's important for us to really put a lot of focus and emphasis on our children. You don't even know how on both sides of the political aisle, you just hear people saying, oh, these kids ain't got, look at, they're just these ghetto kids. They don't got nothing to do. But you go to their neighborhoods and there's no kind of resources. Everything is cut. Funding is cut. There's no programs for them to play sports. Do you realize how, in China, and I know I'm using them as an example, in China and in Japan and these places, kids can freaking create you a website at 3 years old. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of emphasis put on children today because the purpose of that is to prepare the future for your country. And if we really in this country care about kids, if we really care about their future, then we need to put a lot of emphasis in education. There's no way. Yo, let me tell you, you even know the amount of times I see in schools, the turnarounds that I see in public schools or even charter schools. You know why that is? Because it's embarrassing that teachers don't have a good salary to be able to sustain yourself. What were we talking about yesterday? The amount of stuff that they put in the list for school. Does anybody ever take 2 minutes and say, why are we robbing the little bit of money that these schools already get and taking more money out of their budget to put it to war, to put it in other avenues, to put it for congressmen, while your senators and representatives all got free health care, they're set for life. Most of these motherfuckers will sit in Congress forever until they're practically dead. Mm-hmm. And we can't even get shit for our kids. We can't provide our kids good health care. We can't provide our kids decent food, good after-school programs, good tutorings. Listen to me. It's bullshit. Do not sit here and tell the world that you care so much about your kids when the reality is that you're doing everything possible to cut. You know what it is in Alabama alone? Alabama will vote, every motherfucker in Alabama, every single individual in Alabama will vote for a Republican, for Donald Trump. And the first thing he's doing is screwing all their kids. No after-school programs.
So why don't you take over and train your kids, bro? You went Christian, right? You went religious, right? Mm-hmm. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will never depart from it.
I'm not taking away every way. I'm not taking away in the responsibility of a parent. If the
government doesn't do it, if the government is taking out funds,
I'm not asking government to be the parent. What I'm trying to say is it starts with the parent, but you cannot make life more difficult for a parent to raise children and then sit here and expect kids to grow up and be these exemplary individuals, these really good human beings, because they're growing up in environments where all they had to do was, I need money for my house. I could either go play some basketball, I could either go do this, or I could do that after school. I could get an education, so when I graduate, I take care of my moms, or I get the easy way out. There's a corner over there, and I know there's a punto over there where I could sell drugs, or I could do this, or I could rob so-and-so. You want to sit here and complain how bad the youth is today, but we ain't doing shit to help them grow up and get out of the situation. That's all I'm saying.
And what do you want the government to do? What would you like the government to do?
No. First of all, I'm in agreement with you in one thing. When it comes to parenting starts. With our children, it starts at home with their parents.
Okay.
I'm not saying every single parent is perfect. We got a lot of knuckleheads and idiots. However, once a child is eligible to go into the preschool world, let's not cut back funding or opportunities. You want their mom? Like, for example, I'll give you an example. I'm going to speak. Allow me to speak, right? You said you're the devil's advocate. I'm going to be Christ's advocate. And I'm going to go like this. What if I said to a mother, I picked one mom as an example, and I said to that mother, I will, through public funding, we will pay for your child to go to daycare from 8 in to 5:30, but you have to hold down the job throughout the entire process. And in the meantime, if you want after 5:30, we'll grant you that, but you got to go to school and get an education. Okay. And what is that going to equal? In 3 and 2, if you want an associate's, or in 4 years, if you want a bachelor's, you're going to have a hardworking, educated parent, mother or father, depending who it is. Mm-hmm. And we've helped them raise. It's about making things a little bit easier. I'm not asking schools to be the mother and father of a child. I'm asking for the city and communities. You know how they say it takes a village, right? It takes a village to raise our kids. I'm not asking villages to spank our kids and tell our kids or to be the parent. I'm just asking, let's make things a little bit easier. Why is it so hard? Why do we got money for wars? We got money to build airplanes that if it goes bad, it's an $18 billion disaster. And we go back to the drawing board and we just spent $18 billion. Do you realize the shit we could do with $18 billion in every state? Do you know that this was a statistic and it came out earlier this year? This was already in like March or April. Do you know that as of April, from the beginning of the war in Iran to April, so that's not even that far, the money that was spent in that war would have given free education for every single citizen, not illegal, because then people start going crazy. Free education for every citizen for I don't know how many the next following years, or the current citizen count of the United States would have gotten free education with the money we spent in wars. Why is that? Again, I go back. I feel like a lot of this country purposely wants our kids to be stupid.
Well, then that's how you get people in office.
What?
If people are dumb, you get dumb people in office. Period.
Well, going back to what I'm saying,
so then
right?
somebody else has to somebody else has to guide them.
So you're with me though. At least it seems like you and I are on the same page. You're seeing the trend here. Their goal is to dumb people vote for idiots, right? That's the way the circus works. That's why we were talking about the thing in DR. Like Alofoque in DR has an insane amount of followers.
Unintelligent people. Sorry. No, I don't want to disrespect nobody.
You're not disrespecting everybody because I say the same shit. I call them ñames, idiots who really look at somebody like him and say, this is the answer to all my problems. A motherfucker who's just been sitting there doing what? On the internet, making money with stupid shit. Oh, that's the answer to my problems. He's rich. He's got money. I want him to be involved in politics and be my leader.
Yeah.
Have you not been watching what's been going on here? Right? Isn't that what everybody said when this current president was saying, oh no, he's a billionaire. He's rich. He's been famous. He knows real estate. He's done whatever. Listen to me. Even housing. I don't know a lot about housing stuff, but even housing has slowed down because costs of houses are expensive. So selling it is an issue, and people buying it is a problem. So it's slowed down. Even Florida has been affected by the housing market right now, the way the housing market is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's affecting everything. So you can't sit here and just because somebody says, oh, this guy's a millionaire. I was having a conversation with my cousin earlier today, and I was telling him, because I was talking to him about the Stephen A. Smith stuff. So if you don't know, Stephen A. Smith was the national, what's it called? The National Association of Black Journalists gave him a thumbs down because of his rhetoric against Black journalists, in particular female journalists. And he was hella upset. And the funny shit is, because he did form part of that association. And he was fuming mad. He got online. He was like, oh, y'all want to do this for me? Blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna go off on you guys. You guys are all this blah, blah, blah. Who's the first people he goes running to? Sean Hannity on Fox News. So when Black people are telling you that you got to get your shit fixed and do better, the first motherfuckers you go to are the white dudes that be talking shit about Black people to begin with on Fox News. That's your answer to everything. So I bring up that conversation because when I was having that conversation with my cousin earlier today, I said, Stephen A. Smith is an intelligent individual. He's educated. He's intelligent when it comes to sports. The man knows his sports. That's why he's rich. That's why he's got one of the highest rated shows in sports. And that's why a lot of people follow him in sports. Just because you're good at sports does not mean you got to start talking about politics and shit out of your realm. The same shit I say for Joe Rogan. First of all, I don't even find Joe Rogan's comedy funny. And somehow Joe Rogan is now the go-to person for, let me go get my political analysis and my medical analysis from a Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is a comedian who's not even that good, not even that funny, and got a podcast and blew up on his podcast because he'd bring a lot of great guests. Let's not sit here and anoint him now as the go-to person to talk about health, This guy, you know what Joe Rogan does to talk about health? He goes to Google. Hey, look that up. He said he has a guy that does all his research. Hey, look that up about. Did you hear about that thing about those vaccines? Look that up, and he just Google stuff, and
That
whatever
should
he
be
pulls out of the
perplexing, man.
internet, you're always talking about perplex, and whatever he does, he pulls that up from his research guy. Point is why are we taking political advice from people like Stephen A. Smith and political and medical advice from people like Joe Rogan? Why? That's the part that I sit here and scratch. First of
Because
all,
people are taking courses, psychology courses on YouTube. That's why.
oh, you bring it back that story.
You see what I mean? You see
I
what
just,
dumb people make dumb choices.
I cannot comprehend how people sit here and go, my guy, Stephen A. Smith, is exactly what I need when it comes to politics. Stephen A. Smith, listen to me. I know you ain't listening to me, but hear this out. You are not good at politics. Shut your mouth and stick to what you know, which is sports. Joe Rogan, I don't really follow or watch, but he's got a very big following. He's got a lot of people who watch him. But I just find it hilarious that that's the go-to guy when it comes to politics. That's the go-to guy when it comes to conspiracies and health talk. Come on now, like really? From a comedian? You know what I'm saying? Now, there are a few comedians that actually are political comedians. They're not necessarily my favorites, but guys like Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, what's the one on HBO? Bill Maher. They're not exactly my favorites, but they're more political comedians than they are any other kind of comedian. So people tend to listen to them. But now everybody thinks that, oh, Joe Rogan is funny. Now he's talking politics. I'm going to listen to Joe Rogan, and whatever he says goes. Joe Rogan is the reason, even though he now says he's seeing all the bullshit that's going on with this administration, Joe Rogan is one of the reasons, along with a bunch of other people, that Donald Trump is in office today. And again, I go back to, I know I'm getting off topic a little bit, but it's the whole concept of stupidity. Having stupid is almost like that movie Idiocracy, I think it's called, right? You remember that movie?
I think so.
Idiocracy with I forget who the main actor was, but it was set in a world where he was frozen and he went for many years, and when he came back, the world was just run by idiots. And so yeah, man, it's just, this is what we are. Like, what's it called? The inmates are running the asylum basically right now.
Yeah.
Inmates. Right now, if we look at the administration that's going on in this country, we have a reality TV host as president. We have a Fox News contributor as Secretary of Defense. Now it's called Secretary of War. So it's supposed to be defense, right? Or are we really going after a war? You have to call it war. And then the Secretary of Health is a former heroin addict who used to snort cocaine off toilet seats. That's who tells. That's who. Who's telling everybody in this country what shot to take and not to take. What needs to be. What prescription kids. I mean, weren't they talking about like Tylenol causing autism? I mean, it's insane. We're really living this movie,
bro. I saw this in a movie. Stupid is as stupid does.
It's a whole shit fest. And let me go to this real quick because we only got a few minutes left. We got about 5 minutes left. I was watching a documentary about Sweden. I just randomly bumped into it. And over there in Sweden, everybody gets free education over there. And you know what you also have? Less crime, I'm not saying that crime does not exist. I'm not saying that things are completely perfect. I'm saying that when you invest in your people, starting from a young age, you will see the results in the future.
But what's the economy over there? It's totally different. Like,
bro, you could pay. What do you mean? Go ahead.
It's totally different. Like, you would have to see, what folks are making out there, because it doesn't what works for Sweden sometimes won't work for us, and what
I'm
works
just
for us won't work for some
I'm
countries.
okay, but I'm giving you an example. There's a lot of countries that offer free healthcare. There's a lot of countries that offer free education. There's a lot of countries that offer, especially to our youth. Man, why are we so there's no way, that this idiot right here, me, I call myself an idiot, is the smartest person in the room to figure out that where we get better is by investing in our future, our children. Why is this so damn hard for people to understand that? Why? Because politicians don't care. Politicians get free health care. They will vote. And listen to me, when it comes to like this lobbying stuff, they use this term lobbying in Congress. Lobbying is basically another way of bribery. They call it, it's a legal way of calling it bribery, right? So your XYZ company pushing a cancer pill,
Hmm.
and then you're another lobbyist saying that those pills are bad because they cause other issues. You're getting money thrown one way or getting money thrown the other way. Whatever way you pick, you're gonna get money. And guess what you're also getting as a politician? Free healthcare. Look at this. Oh, look at this. This is great details. Parents get a whole year of paternity and maternity leave to be with their children and full pay. You know why that matters? Because over there, family matters, bro. If you tell a family you could take your first year off of work, I'm not saying it would work here, but I'm giving you an example. The reason in Sweden people get the first year off of work is because they want family to be the the central point of the growth of humanity or their citizens. They figure if we invest in both parents being there to raise their child, especially the first year, that child is going to grow up to be a good human being with good moral values and make good decisions that's going to benefit the community. If we stop this bullshit of taking money away from our educational system, and we stop this bullshit of paying our teachers crap while we're sending millions of dollars and burning millions of dollars on wars and all other bullshit, our system here would be better. But as you know, sick people is a business. So that's why they try to keep like for example, that's why they try to keep medicines out of this country. Not because it's a liability, but because it's going to take away from their bottom line, which is money. A doctor is not going to make money by curing somebody. A doctor is going to make money
Well, I
by
hope in the
recommending them a pill that's going to help them. Go ahead.
health section that has been changing for a while now.
I
Just so you
certainly
know.
hope to see it. Well, you know where we need to start next? In the educational system. I promised 30 to 1 hour, and I'm going to stick to it. We're now at 5:58 minutes and 48 seconds, and I'm going to end with this. By the way, thank you for joining, and thank you for those who
Anytime,
stuck
anytime.
around for the year. I
For the
really,
year,
really think.
for the year.
Did I say that? I was going
Yeah.
to say something else. Sorry. I really hope that we can find candidates that really want to focus on our children. It is extremely important. This is coming from me, right? I'm just this little dude sitting here behind a computer talking to you. It would behoove, I love that word, this country if we really put an emphasis on our children. Look at this: the sick and the dying being money for doctors, insurances, funeral homes, and cemeteries. But like I said, if we really concentrate on putting an effort and putting money into our educational system, you're going to see that everything else is going to trickle down. You want to see the real trickle down economics? Invest money in our kids' education, and you're going to see it's just going to blossom to this beautiful place where we can all live in harmony. Yes, there'll
Amen.
be idiots. Yes, there'll be racists. But at the end of the day, we'll have a better tomorrow. Thank you for joining us.
That's
This
what's
is
up.
Jonathan speaking to you, El Clásico. Don't forget to join us every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. for our funny shows. We talk about topics from current events to tech stuff. Always a big tech guy. And then we jump into other subjects like music and production and funny stuff. and even some personal stuff to make it funny. And then, of course, we end it with Los Clásicos RD, talking about the world of Dominican music in general and all the good stuff in between. So thank you. It's now 9:20, and we've been here for exactly 1 hour. I hope everybody has a blessed evening and you enjoyed it. And if you did and people watch, we will do it again.
Will you be back on tomorrow?
No, you crazy, son.
Have a good night, folks. Have a good
night.
You
too. Peace.
All right.
What the fuck, TV?